So hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Angela. If you're new, hope you guys are doing okay. So it's been a little minute since I made a video, but I decided to just make a really hopefully quick one for you guys. Obviously, if you're a new subscriber, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning back in. So today my video is going to be on anger management, and that's actually something that I think I suffer from, and I think a lot of people actually suffer from anger issues. I have a lot of anger issues, and so I actually had to figure out a way that helps me calm myself down, especially in a situation where I experience a lot of anger, and that is very unusually most of the time. Like, I get angry for the slightest thing. Like, let me just give you like an example of something that happened to me. I used to do this little job at this construction company, and I remember there was this one time when my boss had sent me to see the head of HR, the director of HR, and I had to drop a document. I think he had asked me to do something, print out the document. I can't remember exactly what he asked me to do, but he asked me to print out this document, and I went to the office where he sent me to print out the document. I printed it out in the format that he showed me the document. So I printed everything out, and I went ahead to go give him in his office. So when I get to his office, I go to the office, and then I gave him the document. So when I gave him the document, he started looking through he was reading through it. So this specific person, he spends his whole time complaining. But this is not like an excuse for what happened, but he usually spends his whole time complaining. So I give him this document, and then he's reading through it. And then the whole time he's reading through, he's like, why is the font size so small?
I should have made the font size bigger. Or he did not want it in A4, he wanted it A3.
So in my mind, I'm like, so he's saying all of these things, and I'm trying to explain to him, oh no, you did not mention me doing it in A3. You did not tell me to do all of these things. So he's saying, the more he's talking, the more I'm trying to explain. So when he tells me, he kind of asks me something, and I'm trying to explain. Then while I'm explaining to him, he keeps talking over me. So I'm explaining to him, and he keeps talking over me, and we're just doing this back and forth. So at some point, I can't even hear myself speak, because you cannot ask me for an explanation, and then you keep trying to talk over me. So while he's talking over me, I apparently slammed my hand on the table. So sorry, I don't know what's going on, but apparently I'm catching a cold. But I apparently slammed my hand against the table, like to shut him up. So when I did that, then I proceeded in explaining myself. So for some reason, when I started explaining myself, I noticed he was quiet. And in all honesty, I think in that moment where I slammed my hand on the table, I blacked out, because up to today I cannot still remember slamming my hand on that table. But the thing is, he mentioned it to me. So when I finished explaining everything, and he was so quiet, he kept looking at me, and I was explaining, and I explained, and I was done, and I was like, okay, can I leave? And he looks at me, and he's like, okay. And the whole time I was explaining, he was like, okay, oh, that's good, okay. So when I'm done, he looks at me, and he's like, can he say something? And my mom was like, why is this man asking me if he can say something? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, even though something is upsetting me, and even though I get pissed off about something, or even something is rubbing me the wrong way, and I'm really irritated about something, and something is frustrating, I should never slam my hand on the table when I'm talking to somebody. So when he says this, I look at him, I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, I was like, no, I did not slam my hand on the table. He looks at me, he's like, you did slam your hand on the table. And I'm like, no, I did not. So I could not even remember that that's what I did. So there was this other intern he had an intern in his office. So I turned around, and I looked at the intern, and I'm like, did I slam my hand on the table? And the shock when I actually turned around to look at him, because he was still looking at me like he was shocked and he was surprised. And when I asked him that, he was like, he didn't even say anything. He was like, yeah. So I turned back around, and I look at the director, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, it was not intentional. He was like, no, that's fine. It's no problem at all. I kind of got that you were actually very annoyed and you're frustrated. So I understood what happened. But to be on the safe side. Next time when you're getting upset about something, just let the person speak, or just try to calm yourself down. You don't need to slam your hand against it. So I was so embarrassed while I was leaving his office, and I apologized. I told him I was sorry, and I left. But if I tell you that I did that intentionally, or I can remember doing it, I'm lying. And even up to today, I try to like visualize what happened in that office on that day, and I still, that part where I slammed the table, I can't remember. I still can't see it. So that's just to say that usually when you're somebody who tends to get upset really quickly, what I found to be helpful for me is like not saying anything. I try. It's really hard. But one thing I try to do is I really try not to say anything, because one thing is anger is very, very bad for your health. It could raise your blood pressure. And first of all, what happens to me when I'm upset is I start shaking. Like I'm physically shaking, not like in my mind. I'm physically, like my hands are shaky. My heart is racing. That's how bad it gets. And I'm very irritated. I even start getting a headache. So what happens when I'm upset is I try as much as possible to control my breath, which is one thing. One, you need to learn how to breathe. Like if something is upsetting you, try to like control your breathing. You breathe in, you breathe out. That has helped me tremendously in like handling my anger issues, because in that breathing, because when I'm upset, I feel like my muscles are tight, right? So in that moment when I'm breathing, it kind of relaxes me. It kind of relaxes my muscles as well. I try to unclench my fists, because I have this thing that I do when I'm upset, and I clench. I'm not a physical person. You won't catch me in a fight any day. Like I'm not physical, but I'm very verbal. Like I don't know how to hide my feelings. I don't know how to act like it's okay. Like if something rubs me the wrong way, you will know immediately. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't take any kind of rubbish. Then get it out. Like you need to find a way to get out how you feel in that moment. Not specifically then, like not right there and there, because after you breathe and then you kind of move past probably the person who's upsetting you, or kind of withdraw yourself from that specific situation. Try to figure out find a calm place where you can be it your bedroom or wherever you feel kind of comfortable, and air your mind. Now, some people will write stuff down. I will write how I feel about something. Like if I'm really upset about something, I'll write it down, or I will talk to myself. What I mean by talking to myself is I will probably go to the bathroom and physically have a conversation with myself. And this conversation is not actually with myself, but with the person. But I'm saying, or I'm playing out every possible scenario as to how that conversation would have went if I'd spoken to the person. So that's my own way of getting it out, because if I get it out to the person in that moment where I'm upset, the things that I can say, because I'm because I'm not physical, I feel like my words are kind of how I fight my battles. So the kind of things that I'm going to say to you, the tone of my voice, you will feel how disgusted I am with the whole situation. And I feel like that's really not the best way to handle issues. So I try to write it down, or I try to talk to myself. That's the only way that it works for me. Now you can figure out a way that works for you in trying to get out how you feel. Next, the third thing that I do is I kind of try to seek context in whatever happened in that specific situation. Like I try to ask myself, was I really supposed to be upset? Was it that bad? Like, is it what the person said? Was it really that bad? Like, should I be upset about it? Am I going to be upset about it in an hour? Am I going to be upset about it tomorrow? In a week from now? I try to really find the context in that specific situation, and I try to make sense of it. Like if it doesn't make any sense, then there's no need for me to be that upset about it, because sometimes I can get upset by a notification of a message. If I misread your message in a certain state of mind, I feel attacked. Right? I'm already seeing red. Like I don't take time to like really break down your message and try to see where you're coming from. You may even just be saying like a cool hi, hello, but the way I take it is different. So when I try to find context in whatever message that you have sent to me, or whatever you said to me, I try to understand what exactly was going on in that specific situation. It helps me give you a better comeback or give you a better reaction of myself. And then the last thing, I try to process my anger calmly. I move myself from the situation. I end the conversation because I try as much as possible to calm down. If I am not calm, my spirit is not calm. And the one thing is also, if I'm having a disagreement maybe with a friend, I need to get that stuff out. I need to say something about it. I need to say something to you about it. And my worst thing is if maybe I'm having a conversation with you and you're like, you know what, it's okay. Like, let it not be that it's okay just because you're trying to shut me up. I want you to be okay because you get what I mean and we're actually seeing eye to eye. Don't just tell me like it's okay and then we move on from it. No, I feel like we should talk it out calmly so that everybody gets what they have on their chest and you kind of see where I'm coming from with my anger. So those are actually the 4 ways that I figure out how to handle my anger issues. It has been working for me, and most of all, I pray about it. Kind of detach myself from certain situations. Like, if it's not my business, I won't say anything about it. If I know that it's going to cause me a certain kind of discomfort, emotional discomfort, then I try as much as possible to stay away from it. So I hope you guys learned something. Anybody who's handling any anger issues, these are tips that I use. I hope it's helpful to you, that you can use. Yeah, so this is it for this video. If you guys liked it, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I love you guys. Bye. I forgot my peace out.